Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Daniel Umstead, host of the RNG radio show. I'm really excited about my another guest. I've really just been having back-to-back superheroes, ladies and gentlemen. But this man alone has done over 500 concerts and is on my radio show. But let me jump into his mission purpose and actually somebody very important that actually talks about him. So my next guest in Jazz for Peace has used the transcendent quality of music to promote a message of peace and unity. Now over 500 concerts later, and probably more than this since this was written, Jazz for Peace continues its mission of challenging humanity to realize that the forces that unite us are far stronger than the forces that divide us. This person wanted to congratulate my next guest in Jazz for Peace on everything they have accomplished to this point and all the good they are sure to bring about as they continue this concert series. United States President, 2009 Nobel Peace Prize winner, Barack Obama. I don't think I've had any type of intro top that. Mr. Rick Dellaratta, how are you doing today, sir?
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you for that wonderful intro.
Oh yes. Well, listen, if I could write it any better, there it would be. But so before we get into your story, because I definitely got some questions, I know that you prepared something amazing for my guests to listen to. So I will allow you to take it away and let us just listen.
Okay, here it comes. Come, they told me. Our newborn king to see. The finest gifts we bring. Jazz for peace coming through the trees, and in my heart it fills me like a celebration. I see the light and I want to follow, inspired by the past contributions of those that came before. That stands for peace and love and humanity and intelligence that leads to reaching potential that we have in our soul, so we can raise our total conscience and see that the gift of giving is our greatest privilege. I hear jazz for peace. kisses. Find the secret places. Touch me till I tremble. Free my wings for flying and catch me while I'm falling. Keep your arms around me like there's no tomorrow. Let me know you love me on our little island. Not a soul can see us. Show me how to love you. Teach me how to please you. Lay your dreams beside me. Only stars will listen to our cries and whispers. You were made to love me, and I was made to love you. Keep your arms around me. Lose yourself inside me. Make it last forever. I can see the island shining in the distance now. We're getting closer. Keep your arms around me, love. We're almost there. Love, we're almost there.
My soul is dancing right now. Like that is awesome. Awesome, man. I can't thank you enough for that. I'm hoping we can pretty much just stop right now. That was it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just for me, that's it. No, man. All right. The story, man. I need the story because I hope people are putting this on rewind because there was a part when you did drum. I'm like, that's Rick's drum. Okay, that's nobody else's drum, but that line alone, and just your melody with it, man. It's you can tell that this is a love and passion of yours. Like you can tell that it's not about the profit. It's not about of course, it's about the lives that you touch, but you and that that music, man. It's just y'all best friends. Y'all are truly, truly best friends. So let me shut up. Tell the story, man. What got you started in this?
Well, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you chose actually to start it with jazz because what the listener like you just said. You hear a drummer boy that you never heard before. A little drummer boy you never heard that before. Well, that's the magic of jazz right there. You know what I mean? That artist has the opportunity to play something in such a way that's never been played before, and it makes the listener feel special. It makes the artist feel almost empowered. It's a special feeling. It's like, wow, I can do something that you've never heard, or in a way that you've never heard, in a way that can touch people. And so, that's kind of like a nucleus that has the ability to kind of just blossom, kind of like the way, a symphony is composed, a famous symphony by Beethoven, that's a great example, right? Da, 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 you know what I mean? That's only two notes, da, 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 da. It's two notes, one note's repeated 3 times. There's only one other note. And, you know, I mean, from what I've heard, Beethoven sat for hours and days and weeks, you know, just scribbling up to finally get to that little thing. But then he opens that up and makes it a whole symphony with movements. I mean, all from that little thing. And that's kind of what Jazz for Peace is doing. It's taking something like that and growing it into something that benefits mankind in as many ways as possible. You know what I mean? Because, this music, and of course, it's a great American art form of jazz coming from that, which comes from a microcosm of all kinds of other music, rhythms from Brazil, rhythms from Africa, harmonies from Europe. I mean, it's amazing. Just the way America was created by all of these nationalities coming here, the same way jazz blossomed by incorporating all of these different, aspects. Now you have this music that's a gift to all mankind, as the poem states, which I wrote on the morning of 9/11. And, I almost can't say I wrote it. It was kind of like I was a conduit. It came through me. The words came through me, just like the music ultimately comes through you. If you're a musical artist, an improvising musical artist, you can practice all you want, and you should, but when it's time to play, it should come through you. It just comes, and you're a conduit. I mean, I wouldn't even mind if someone said, hey, he's a vessel. It's not, don't even credit me. I don't mind, because, sometimes we get into all of that ego and who created this and who created that and all that stuff. I'm just glad it's able to come through me and make a difference, and reach somebody. So now you've got this music that reaches people, but it doesn't just reach people like me and you who speak English. It reaches, it transcends language. You know what I mean? It transcends barriers of race, religion, creed, location. It transcends really any kind of barrier that can hold us back as a species. And we are being held back, as we've got all of these problems in the world. But if you go back historically, people have used music to solve these problems especially when all else fails. And there's an incredible documentary. I saw it when I was a kid, or I would say a kid, maybe in my 20s, and I saw this documentary. I was a student at the time. The documentary came out, it's in Tibet. And it's the story of these people. This guy was up there making some kind of a film in Tibet, and he was staying with his family. And these people had an issue with a camel. And it was just, the situation just took him by such a storm that he just changed the whole documentary to this camel, to the situation with the camel. What happened was they had a camel. The camel gave birth to an albino child, and the camel would not accept its own, daughter or son, whatever this albino was. And it was just a disastrous situation where they couldn't, they were trying to keep the camel alive. The mother wouldn't accept and it was just such like, what are we going to do? And they're trying this and they're trying that. And he's now filming this. He was supposed to, I don't know what he was supposed to be filming, but he's captured on this now. What's going to happen with this? It's like, and these people sit there and they try this, they try that, they try this, they try that. And at the end of the day, they finally say, well, that's it. We got to go get the musician. We got to go get the musician. So now he follows them. 2.5 days, they travel, because, it's way up in Tibet in the 1970s. They don't have any other ways. They're traveling on a horse or something. I believe a donkey. They travel for 2.5 days to a donkey. They can't even call the guy. There's no phones. They're just traveling to where they know this guy is. He's a musical healer. They find the guy, they read, that's where he's located. They know where he lives. They 2.5 days, they get to him and they say, hey, we're all out of bullets here. You got to come up and, we got to work out a deal, and, you got to do your thing. Yeah. He says, okay. He gets on his little donkey, and they 2.5 days back to where this situation is. He's got his instruments now, and he takes an instrument and he puts it on. I believe he puts 2 instruments on the mother camel. They bring the camel. He puts these instruments that resonate. Okay. And then he has his own violin. And now the sound from the violin is resonating on the mother, because it's going inside the instrument and resonating on the mother's body. They bring the other camel over, and he plays for hours until the mother breaks down and cries and bawls its eyes out. And the documentary is called The Song of the Weeping Camel. You can look it up somewhere. You probably watch it for free online somewhere on some, specialty site.
Yeah.
Because I did watch it again, I believe, for free. I looked it up once. I was like, I got to see this again. But anyway, this is back then, and God only knows how many generations they've been using that to heal people. And I realized, we've got all these problems in the world, but music does. It is a magic. It's a magic kind of problem solver. It just has a way of doing it. And so what I realized was, I could reach people anywhere with my music, and what I could do at a certain point, I realized, after I'd written the poem Jazzer's Piece, it started to take on kind of a life of its own, because what happened was I wrote the poem came out of me on 9/11, like I said, I wasn't Edgar Allan Poe or nothing. I was just, I was a lyricist, but here I am with these words that came out of me. And, I had no other response to what I saw on 9/11, because I watched it from the roof of my building in the Lower East Side, less than a quarter of a mile away from the World Trade Center. So it was, I'm looking at something that no one's ever experienced before in our lifetimes. And just the words came out. Now I've got the words. I recite the words a few weeks later at a jazz festival that I happened to be headlining at. And so there was over 8,500 people, outdoor thing, and I recited the words. Then I put the word to music to another very kind of high profile concert that I happened to have after that. Then the articles came out, Dellaratta starts out show with Jazz for Peace. A preview had recorded me. I didn't even know the guy was recording the interview, but he'd asked me to recite it, and that came out. All the words came out, Another sentence that I said came out, which was just off the top of my head. I'm just talking to this guy, and I said, listen, if we fill our souls up with creativity, artistry, humanity, intellectuality, things of that nature, we will have a better chance. We will have a better chance. So I said, at avoiding the behavior that leads to destruction, which is true. I mean, you will have a better chance. That is all that's true. I don't know how that guy said it. It was off the top of my head. That gets lifted out of the article by famous quotes websites, unbeknownst to me. Now you can Google, and people do this to Google. They're like, just for fun, they'll Google my name, famous quote, Rick Dellaratta, famous quote. The websites that will come up, I mean, it's endless. You have pages and pages of these famous quotes websites in all different languages, like in, Finlandia, in Finland, I mean, all languages all over the place. And it's in there with, all these people, these real famous people, and Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Einstein, it's in there with them. And anyway, so you got all that stuff going on at the same time. I figured, well, I'll do some concerts in New York. Then it's like, what's, like, it's just that, like, what is it? The train is leaving the port and I'm on it. I don't know where it's going. You know what I mean? But one idea was just a natural idea. Let's do some concerts for some outstanding causes. I don't know nothing about outstanding. I don't know Jack. I know that they exist, but I don't know. I had no idea how many of them there are, all that kind of stuff, that they were worldwide. No clue. We just do a handful of them for, some outstanding causes in New York City. Hey, there's probably about 20 of these, we'll help about 6 of them, whatever. And it just, one thing led to another. So like I said, it just took on a life of its own. And the train is still rolling down the tracks.
Wow, man, like you talk about the one concert, 8,500 plus, another one that was high profile, and it just continued to scale, and folks will have like the best business plan written out, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year marketing plan, saying this is what we're going to do come year 5, year 7, all this stuff. You follow your passion, you follow your heart, coming from, a very inspirational story, and your focus, which all companies, hint, hint, should get, is that you're looking at, like, I'm not trying to help just like one language or one population. It's like, how can I touch every single person on this earth? And you're doing that. With that, Rick, And I know you have countless stories of it, but to date, what has been like your biggest success story from your message doing Jazz for Peace?
Well, there, like you just said, there's a million stories I could tell. I can tell stories about Philadelphia, where you are, an incredible, a church that we helped there that was just so phenomenal. It's on our testimonials page. You can go to there's a page. It's a WordPress page. So it's jazzforpeace.wordpress.com. And if you go to that page, you can click on, step 1, step 2, step 3. And if you click on step 1, which actually the address is jazzforpeace.wordpress.com/about. You could even just type /about at the end of it to get to the specific page. You'll see our empowerment tree. And if you keep scrolling, you'll see that quote that you mentioned from Barack Obama and quotes from all kinds of other famous people that you know who they are, whether it's Ralph Nader, whether it could be the Prime Minister of Kenya, Africa. You'll see quotes from all these people from around the world that have chimed in on what they think of what Jazz for Peace is doing and how they describe how it has affected their hearts, etc. But when you go below that, you go to testimonials. And, on a Mac, probably on any computer, you can do a command search or whatever. I think it's like Command F on a Mac. It's just, then you just type in the keywords. If you type in Philadelphia, you'll get to, you type in any city, type in anything, and you'll go to that city. But from Philadelphia, there's a poster here from the Darfur. I'd have to look at it, but it's a refugee or some kind of thing that we help. Just numerous ones. But the one I'm going to tell you today is just one that is really off the beaten path because what was so special about it is how much I learned. Because what happened was there was a concert with numerous concerts out in LA and lots of them in California. But this one was, all the way out in, I believe, LA, California. And, I'm going out there to help an organization that's addressing bullying in the schools. And it's a very small organization and it's run by this woman, and you can see her heart and soul is into it. I later found out because it was her own son that had been bullied. And so she had gone through the trauma. There was no resource for her and her son. So she started an organization. I've got to help my son. I've got to help all these other kids that it happens to. And it's traumatic. When you're a kid, you don't know. You're so, a dumb little kid. You don't know that if you were a part of a group of kids that made fun of somebody, you don't know the trauma that it happens to the other kid. You're not able to, put that together. But anyway, this poor kid. So here's the thing. We're doing our best, because here's the thing, honestly, if you apply to Jazz for Peace, we will work with you. I don't care how old you are, how new you are, how big you are, how small you are. You know what I mean? We have to live up to the words of that poem. In order to live up to those words, I cannot possibly even consider, discriminating for any reason against an outstanding cause. In fact, an outstanding cause even that makes a profoundly positive difference in one person's life is doing something incredible, because how many people is that person going to reach in his life that was profoundly affected? You know what I mean? So it's phenomenal. So anyway, we do everything we can, and I go out there. People who know jazz will know the name Freddie Hubbard. He was a great trumpet player. And, he lived a number of years out in LA. So LA has this little vibe, these cats that played with Freddie Hubbard. He's got these records and these guys that play. Anyway, I had these guys from Freddie Hubbard's band playing with me. We had great musicians. We had a great band. We had everything. I brought a saxophone out to donate it to her school. Her principal came, I brought it on my carry-on. We tried to help them get the sponsors and do everything. And, when I got back, and it was a long flight and all that stuff, you fly all the way out there. And I was like, man, I did everything I could. I don't know if we raised enough funds for her. I don't know if we got enough sponsors for her. I don't know if we got enough receipts. You know what I mean? I don't know if all of this was, maybe, you know what I mean? I don't know if we really did, doing my best. Maybe my best wasn't good enough. What's that song? You know what I mean? Just once, da, 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 right? I guess my best is good enough. It's a song anyway. It's a popular song from the 1980s. James Ingram. It's called Just Once. Anyway, every time I say that, I think, I guess my best wasn't good enough. I think of the song. But I was like, I guess I'm back in New York, and I'm thinking, I guess my best wasn't good enough. Maybe I'm wondering, right?
Right.
In comes a letter from this woman. Boom, and I see the letter from this woman. I'm like, I hope it's not her telling me, we're really sorry. I know you tried your best, or whatever, I hope, I don't know what it's going to say. I just figure I'll open it up, because we want people to give our feedback,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
we have, like I said, that page is insane because you'll never get to the bottom of it. They all wrote us letters and we put them there because we want people to see what these people wrote, and it's all their unique experience, and they're incredible letters. I mean, I'm rich from just those letters I received. Forget it at this point, if I starved to death from here, I'm loaded from those letters. So the letter doesn't really talk about and we did get stuff, we did help the organization. There's no doubt about it, but it's not about that. The letter is about how what we did transformed her son, who had been bullied. Which stupid me, I never thought about that, right?
Right.
Right? Because all I'm thinking about is, did we raise enough? Will the funds we raised help her? To blah, blah, blah. Will this, that, yeah.
Meanwhile, he changed his whole kids for the kids' life is better.
The most important thing is the kid, right? He's been traumatized. He probably had, you can get post-traumatic stress, post-traumatic stress. You get that from being bullied. You know what I mean? Who knows what this kid went through for her to want to start this organization with the poor kid. The letter was all about the kid. You know what I mean? And we have pictures, and we did do all that, but she wanted to talk about how much, because her kid she says, my son just never dreamed that people would look out for him. That somebody all the way in New York, and a famous, some famous person like you, all that stuff would fly all the way out here for him. You do all that for him. Yeah. And so, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, was this event ever worth it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
so
man.
I figured I'd do that because that's off the beat, because usually it's not, you're thinking about all that other stuff, but like I said,
how much money raised, how many lives were saved, whether it be like a blood donor cause. Absolutely. Meanwhile, this one kid compiled with a bunch of letters, he changed the generation for the better because of this influence. Because had, the mom never even started an organization, had this, kid never even just got the courage. And even when folks do have the anti-bullying, or bullying does get stopped, like you said, there's that PTSD. They're still wondering in their head, like, is something going to go wrong? Like, is something going to happen? Meanwhile, this kid went from the small kitten to this big ferocious lion now. So that's
his whole outlook on life was changed, according to her, because because he sees us, all these musicians, on stage for him, flying all the way out here and, helping her organization, getting it off the ground from ground zero, and the the whole thing, and all for him, like, you know what I mean? Like, how many kids have something like that happen to them? And, not me. It's how many kids get a result. What an incredible thing to happen on the positive side, even though what happened on the negative side was so sad, was so bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Jazz for Peace says in some of our literature, because a lot of people accused us of being too good to be true. I never seen anything like this. This is too good. It's too good to be true. And so we actually had to put up a web page called jazzforpeace.org /too good to be true. .pdf. So people, yeah, and at the end of it says, if 9/11, a tragedy too bad to be true, because at that time no one would have ever dreamed, you in New York City, look out, like you could look out this window and see where the World Trade Center would have been. Normally you could see it from here. No, it's too bad to be true. If you told somebody that's going to happen, that's not possible. It's too bad to be true. But if if a event like that, too bad to be true, can actually be true, so can then a response too good to be true, the Jazz for Peace benefit concert series.
Love it, man. Love it. And you know, with all these places that you've been to, like around the world, nationally, I mean, you just mentioned Los Angeles. I know that you were out in Africa. I've seen the concerts from out there. Of all the places that you went to, what's been like your favorite place to that you have played at?
Well, okay, that's a tough one.
And feel free, don't you don't need to mention Philadelphia. It's okay.
All right. Yeah. I mean, there's so, you know, there's the thing about it is it's that they've been so unique that it would be almost impossible to compare, let's say, an event in Philadelphia, even if it was a great event in Philadelphia, with an event in, let's say, you know, Kathmandu, Nepal, or, you know, the south of India or Lahore, Pakistan, you know. But I would have to say, what I've learned is that you could put me in the greatest 5-star, ritziest place in the world, and if it's an event that doesn't have those magical components that make an event so magic, music being one of them, you know, it won't be as good as a magical event, you know. Like, for example, we did once a tour, literally a tour of New Mexico. We did like five places in New Mexico. One was a jazz trapeze, the first jazz trapeze festival in some little town called Madrid, New Mexico. Another one was a concert at some place called something in Truth or Consequences, which is the name of a game show. It's actually the name of a town in New Mexico. Anyway, one of the first one we did was at an Indian reservation. Okay, so we fly into New Mexico, and now I've got to go to this Indian reservation. Everything's going wrong. You know, the flight is late, the baggage is blah, 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 blah. There's one thing after another. Can't, you know, they get lost on the way, this, that, and the other. And there's going to be no time now. I don't even know who these musicians are I'm playing with, because it's just me flying in with, you know, a couple of jazz trapeze volunteers. And they've arranged these musicians. They found these musicians in New Mexico. I don't know who they are. I figure I'll find out who they are at the rehearsal. Then there'll be a sound check, you know, that kind of thing.
Something.
No, nothing. No sound check, no rehearsal. Forget it. In fact, we're worried that we're even going to make it to the concert. We're worried that there's going to be no concert. So we get literally driving there now, maybe 20 minutes late now, even, you know, but anyway, there's at least going to be a concert, you know. The place, it's a little place, it's a little kind of a thing. It's not an auditorium. It's like some little Indian thing, you know what I mean? It's like some little Indian giant, I don't know. It's a little place, almost like it's almost like
amphitheater.
Yeah, not a teepee, but you know what I mean? Some giant, it's like a giant teepee almost, but it was not really shaped like a teepee. Anyway, it's a place. Yeah, it's not an amphitheater. It's not. It's a small place. It's a small place. And it's packed to the geezers, you know. It's a small place. You can't fit many people in it. It's like people are shoulder to shoulder in this place. They are on the stage. The equipment is set up. They are just waiting for me to walk on stage and start the show. So I just walk onto that stage. It's packed, and they're waiting. And I don't know these guys' names or nothing. And we just start playing. We start playing. And the magic was there. Yeah, we just start playing. I've never met them before. I don't know their name. No even discussion about the music. We just said, let's try, can we do this? Boom, and play. So now we're just playing, making us show up as we go along. But the magic is in that room because they're the people, it's just got that feeling in the air. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's experiencing this for the first time, including me. And it's a magical feeling, you know what I mean?
Awesome.
So now I'm like, it's time for me to, you know, like announce the musicians. I don't know their names. And I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get the bass player's attention. Hey man, what's your name, dude? What's your name? Your name?
Sir?
Yeah. Yeah. So he tells me his name, which is kind of hard to pronounce. But I get his name. I said, okay, cool, man. Now, what's the drummer's name? He doesn't even know the drummer. He's got to ask the drummer. And he comes back to me. He says the drummer's name is Louis Speaking Eagle. I said, I don't want to know what his pet's name is. What's his name? What is the drummer's name? You know what I mean? Like, what is it? Louis speaking, like, what do you guys, I'm gonna announce this, you sure? That's his name. He's an Indian. He's a Native American, and his name is Louis Speaking Eagle. So what I'm trying to tell you is, I announced that, me and these guys have been friends ever since. In fact, Louis Speaking Eagle, and he'll get a kick out of this story. Will's gonna love this podcast. I promise you, he's gonna love it. He's gone out to LA and played a gig with me in LA. He's played a number of gigs, but one of the gigs I didn't even remember. It was with a bass player who ended up playing with Chick Corea. Became real famous playing with Chick Corea. Chick Corea is a big name in jazz, in case you know. Anyways, everyone who knows jazz knows it. And so he had actually put on his Facebook that me and him and that guy had played. I didn't remember which, because that's the guy I would play with when I was a Cuban guy, and when I go into LA, I would pick him up, And this guy somehow ended up on one with us. So, he did a number of things with Jazz for Peace. We're very close friends. But anyway, the point I'm trying to say is, you see all that magic, you know what I mean? Yeah. If you put me in a 5, I would take that over the White House if it didn't have that magic. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Not that I wouldn't take the gig at the White House, but I'm just telling you, that magic beats,
experience with
the other, it trumps all of the other minuscule thing, like the beautiful concert hall, the incredible this, the incredible that, I'll take that magic. And now don't get me wrong, I'll take the great piano with the magic, I'll take the incredible concert hall, I'll take it all. But without the magic, I'll take the magic. You know what I mean? I'll take that over any place that doesn't have that magic. You see what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%, man. Well, listen, I got a couple more questions. Then we got to wrap this up. The first one, who has been your biggest inspiration throughout all these years?
Well, I would have to say at this point, I'm inspired by greatness across the board. So whether it's the greatness of a John Coltrane, in jazz, or it's the greatness of a Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor that left his little script, like his little diary, and people found it at the end and couldn't believe all of the incredible thoughts he has. Whether it's a Gandhi or what I do actually, because sometimes I'm looking for something on Google, I can't find what I'm supposed to be looking for, but I find someone who listed my quote and the famous quotes or whatever. So I end up reading these famous quotes, and a lot of those people that are in those famous quotes are inspirational to me now. Aldous Huxley. I've read quotes by Malcolm X that I was astounded by. So all these people that have said these great things that inspire others are my inspiration.
I love that. And it continues on, because there's some real life value to that. Because a lot of folks, even in the real estate industry, they see the top of the top folks and, they want to follow them, or even somebody who may be a writer or an artist, they're following, the greats and sticking with them. When you attach greatness to it, that's forever. It's not just I only liked them because they did that one song, or I only liked them because they made 10 million in a year and, became famous and the programs are like out of this world. But when there's greatness attached to it, as you mentioned, that's that longevity, and it continues that legacy, not only for yourself, but what you're pouring into others when you're doing Jazz for Peace, man. So folks need to know, I need to know, we all need to know. It's going to be in the comments below, but where can folks find you at on social media, Rick?
So, a great idea. I mean, of course, as you know, you can Google us, and you can type things into the search bar here and there. But we're on those different social media, any of those social media platforms, whether it's all of them. What is it? Instagram and Facebook. LinkedIn is pretty good because it's a place where people connect, specifically for purposes of Jazz for Peace, etc., not so much social. So LinkedIn's a good one. But what I tell people to do, because Jazz for Peace, our empowerment our fundraising model is what I credit a lot of our success to, and it's based after a tree. It's called an empowerment tree, and it starts by a little comment. So what somebody can do, let's say they could say, hey, I watched this podcast from Philadelphia, and this is what I thought, and I was inspired by this way. way. That little thing is like a comment, because we get them all the time from people. And those comments are seedlings of the empowerment tree. So it starts with a comment. Now, if they're from an outstanding cause, or they know of an outstanding cause, we'll take that comment and grow it into roots by getting the other people that are involved with that outstanding cause to also do the same thing. Take a look at what we do and just say your honest, unique thoughts. Those become roots of it, you know what I mean? Then we'll expand those roots to the people that they want to be involved in the event, that they've wanted to bring into this outstanding cause, but they haven't been able to, have them really experience it. And all of those people will end up being VIP guests of honor for the event. And now, once we have put this all into a panties in a bunch, whatever you call it, now I got an expression from somebody once, and it cracked me up, so I repeat it. Someone out in Michigan said that once. Anyway, yeah, get all your panties in a bunch. So now we've got all the VIPs together, and we've got the foundation for the event. We've got the the motive to build the event on. That's the VIP collection of people that give us allow us to confirm this event. Now we can start advocating for that outstanding cause, getting them the sponsors at the local level, publicity and awareness, new and prestigious supporters, raising funds, all of those things that make up the branches of the empowerment tree. So what they'll do is they'll send an email to us just at our basic email address, info@jazzforpeace.org. Of course, that's our website too, jazzforpeace.org. rickdellaratta.com is my own personal website, etc. But info@jazzforpeace.org is just a great way to to get things started with us.
And folks need to do it immediately, man. So, Rick, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for playing for the audience. Definitely, I know folks not expecting folks to, immediately listen to this and get inspired and want to change a million lives, but I know there's going to be a time and place where somebody's just going to take the time. They're going to come across this YouTube video, or if you're listening on Spotify, Google Podcasts, what have you, and decide like, hey, you know what? If this person could do it, or even so much just this cause alone is inspiring me, to do greater things out here in the world. And that's what it's all about. So, Rick, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate having you here.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the RNG Radio Show. Be sure to like and subscribe for more episodes and future content. If you'd like to learn more, visit us at danielumstead.com. Stay blessed, my fellow millionaires.